Atupamaya sabbe sataram suko kamata pasitwa kamatometa sabasete sudavaye. Having seen that all beings like oneself have a desire for happiness, one methodically devotes loving kindness for all beings. Reflect along these lines. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May I be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. Sadhu, 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 sadhu. Okay. Yes. Okay, so here we are in this place, wonderful place. This morning we had such a great time, and we continue to have a wonderful time. So this place is meaningful to the many people because it's a reminder that even a great person like the Buddha still is subject to the law of impermanence. In Uganda, there is a new religion which claims that they can pray for you and you resurrect. So they keep dead bodies. The government have just actually got to know this. They keep dead bodies and they keep on rotting with maggots, and then the people in the village, they are really very upset that there's a prophet who came up with the idea that he can pray for the people too, those who have died, to resurrect after a certain time. But the reality doesn't say the same. So the government have come up and say you should bury them. Yeah, so always from time to time people want to go against the law of nature. And exactly in Uganda, my country, we find lots of people who have so many ideas. I remember in 2000, this is again in Uganda, and they always come from the Christian side, who told people that, you know, the end of the world is coming, and he gathered all his disciples and burned them. You can really look at the documentary. They all burnt. He collected them in churches. How people are so much deluded. They all accepted. They gathered into the church, set fire on them, and they all died because the end of the world was coming. Around this time this year, we see very far away from Kampala, people, prophet is telling their followers that when you die, you can resurrect. No need to wait for Jesus to come. So anyway, the reality is far from what these people are talking about. So now, this place is significant in many ways. Here Buddha has his last disciple called Subhada. Actually, this was my nickname, Subhada. The reason is not because I'm the other Subhada, but because my teacher, Saido Usidananda, who used to stay in Half Moon Bay, I'm his last disciple. After that, he passed away. So I'm the last disciple to be ordained by this wonderful teacher. He was a rector at the University of Langoon. It's called International Theravada Buddhist Missionary University. He was the first rector. He was such a good scholar and a meditation teacher. Especially he was a good scholar in Abidama. And he's well known actually. It's called Sadhu Siddhanta. So now all the friend monks of this monk, whenever I met them in the bar, I say, oh, Subhada, Venerable Subhada. Anyway, we know that this was the last disciple here. And also we know that actually Buddha gave something very interesting to the disciples. He told them, now ask question. This is it. Ask the last question. And I follow that instruction very closely. You remember whenever I finish my talk, I said, do you have any question? It's very, very important to ask for questions, because through asking, I learn a lot from questions, actually. That's the first thing. I learn a lot from questions myself. And also, as I'm answering questions, I'm always come up with ideas I've never had before. Because it forces me to think in a moment and come up with something that actually I've never come up before. So I like Q&A, and you'll have a chance. I think yesterday talk we didn't have that time. This is it. This is the time. Okay. Now another thing also which is very important in this place, when the Buddha was going to Mahaparinibbana, he said that the Dhamma, which is the doctrine, and Vinaya, which is the discipline, is going to be your teacher. This is very significant as far as the Buddhist ministry is concerned. Because if he left a certain monk, maybe there will be attachment to that monk. And probably also it will not survive. The ministry will not survive, because this is the longest surviving civilization. It's because Buddha gave us the metrics where we can really judge whether this is belong to the Dhamma or not, whether this belongs to Vinaya or not. This is very, very important, actually. Now, many years ago, somebody asked me, Bhante, you teach in many countries, you spend more time teaching in other countries. Why don't you spend more time teaching in Uganda? I told them that don't worry. I told the person who asked me, don't worry about the people in Uganda. They have their best teacher. I'm not the best teacher. In Uganda, they have the best teacher. Then this person asked, what's that best teacher in Uganda? You've left. You are in Australia. Who's the best teacher you're talking about? I said, Dukkha. Dukkha. If they get enough of the Dukkha, yes. And after all, I was there, actually. For me, as I was confused with so many traditions, I had to give up. And I just look at life as my teacher. So, in other words, I was very confident that really they have the best teachers. Of course, over the years, I'm trying to spare a lot of time to go in Uganda, because I have so many monks now. So now I spend more time there. But before, I was really, sometimes I would spend only 45 minutes and I'm off to other place. But now at least I have some time, even if it means 10 days, before I move on to the next place. So anyway, so this is very, very important, that Buddha didn't leave a successor except the Dhamma and the Vinaya. Because all of these years, we can tell whether this is a Dhamma or not. Eh? You remember yesterday we talked about Dhammadipatteya? Eh? It's our yardstick. We can tell for ourselves that this is outside the Dhamma, you know? Yeah, this is very, very important. We are going to compete with that one, but this is a taking refuge. I told you wherever there's an S, they put a TH. So they're taking the 3 refugees. Anyway, so now, one other thing that we see here in this place, I mentioned it a little bit in the morning, but it's more than that. I'm going to talk a little bit more of that, where the Buddha say, via Dhamma is via Dhamma Sankara, Apamadena Sampadeta. I'm going to expand more on it, actually. That all conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence. This teaching, most people take it lightly, but it's so deep. Who cannot see impermanent? We see cars, old cars breaking down. Leaves, we see them falling. This is also impermanent, we see it. But this is not exactly Buddha was really talking about. There are two kinds of impermanence. One is a gross form. Gross form of impermanence is we see histories, the civilizations dying from Roman Egypt. That's what we call gross part of impermanence. We see our trees breaking, we see branches breaking, leaves falling, cars breaking down. You can relate to this. Clothing get torn apart, you know. So this is a grosser form of impermanence, and that may not lead to what Buddha was really meaning. Really, if you want to really follow Buddha's teaching, you have to know three words. They are in Pali, but I'm going to translate them in English. One of them is anicca. You should know that word, anicca, which means impermanent. The second word you should know is anicca lakkhana. Anicca lakkhana means the signs of impermanence. The sign of what? Impermanence. Lakkhana means a sign or a mark. A good example of this is when you are traveling from, maybe yesterday we traveled from Vaishali to Kushinagar. Did you see signs? We could see signs 10 kilometers to Kushinagar. That's what I'm talking about. Without those signs, we cannot be here. we can even tell, okay, these are miles to Kushinagar. Wherever we are going, to go there safer and much easier, we should see the signs. Most people sing anicca, anicca. They even sing a song about anicca, but they cannot practice it. Why? It's because they have not learned the signs. The signs are the markers that you're on the right road. So that means there are three signs of impermanence. What's the first one? Is rising. That's a sign. Whenever you see something rising, that's a sign. And then falling is another sign. And then both rising and passing, those are three signs. But most people neglect them. They neglect those signs. They just sing songs about anicca, 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 anicca. But really, you need to know the signs. The last word, if we need to practice according to Buddha's teaching, is called anicca anupassana. Anicca anupassana. Anu means along. Passana means to see. So seeing along with the signs. Seeing along. So now, once we see this this is a practice now. Before it's a word. Anicca, anicca, anicca is a word. Now we need to practice it. And that practice is called pasana. Seeing with wisdom, along with what's changing, in other words. So in other words, our practice starts like this. It starts with anicca anupassana. Then we see anicca lakkhana, and then we end up with anicca. Are we together? Not the other way around. Not the other way around. Most people think that they are going to see anicca, anicca. No, 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 no. You are going to see leaves. But this is what the Buddha intended is a real practice of pasana. That's why we heard about the teaching on vipassana, over vipassana. You've heard about it? Again, it's the same story. Pasana is to see. It's a big implication there. It means vivida or visesana means seeing ultimate level, on ultimate level. The ultimate level of things, not just conventional level. That means like if you touch like this, touch your fingers like this. Conventional level is fingers, isn't it? You can see 5 of them, you can even count them. But what we talk about seeing, you don't need to use your naked eyes. Press them. What do you see is pressure, isn't it? Tightness. Can you see tightness with your eyes? No, you can only experience yourself. This one you can see by your eyes. Move them like this. This is mode, the mode. Form is like this, the mode. You can see this with your eyes. But the real experience of the four elements, which means earth element, hardness, softness, then there's air, pressure. Pressure is there. So this one you can't see your eyes, and you don't need your eyes. So that's what we call vipassana, seeing clearly the ultimate realities. Another V there also means seeing in various ways. Seeing in terms of impermanence, seeing in terms of dukkha, seeing in terms of non-self. So the word you can see tells a lot, the word vipassana. When you break it down, V means seeing in three ways: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. And also it means seeing not ordinary way, but real ultimate level, on ultimate level. And you don't need your naked eyes. It's experiential. So the same thing why people say Buddha gave these instructions long time ago, but people have not really learned them because they start in the wrong place. You have to start with contemplation. You contemplate anicca and nupassana. Then, during that time, you can see the signs, which rising, passing away, or both, and then you really now go to what the Buddha was saying, and that vaya dhamma, sankara. So now, is it clear you have learned three words now? You have learned three words. Now we go to some questions now. Even Buddha taught this 260 years ago, 2,600 years ago. Why are we not seeing it in nature? Why are we not seeing it? Do you know the reason? I want always to ask. After all, the Buddha asked this, that's why are we not seeing it?
Because we're blinded by ignorance.
Blinded by ignorance. Any idea? This teaching has been here 2,600 years ago. But do we see it? Did we really actually practice it? It looks simple, but the question is, do we really practice it? Oh, and why? I'm just asking a very simple question. Why? The first answer is ignorance. Any idea? Any idea why we can't see in anicca?
Passion.
Eh?
Passion.
Passion? Aversion? Any idea? Eh? You, my friend Ellen, why?
Distracted by grasping.
Uh-huh.
Clinging.
Clinging. Feel?
This moment, we're in the moment, moment by moment. We can't string all the moments together.
Ah, okay, that's really good. Now, the reason why we don't see, all of you, you're fine. The reason why we don't see these characteristics, we call them the three characteristics of existence, is called distorted perception. The Pali word is called vipallasa. We see things in a distorted way, and in many ways because of ignorance, we see things in a distorted way. Instead of seeing things as impermanence, we see them as permanent, all right? And we shouldn't blame ourselves. It's because this concept is masqueraded by continuity. Due to the continuity of events, things tend to be permanent. I give you an example. When you fly normally Dallas Airport, I can give you an example, Dallas in Washington, D.C. When you are just about to land, the plane just about maybe 100, like just enough to see the cars down. You always see two lines. And those lines are drawn, one is red, another one is white. And you wonder where this line is coming from. Lines is really a real line, red one, another one is a white one. And these are cars going on this say beltway. All of them they are putting on in one way. They have the lights behind. And those who have headlamp, they are showing white. It's a line. But once you land on the ground, BJ comes to pick you up. You are now in a traffic, only to find out it's one car after the other car. Before it was a line. So in other words, the concept you are talking about is already masqueraded by continuity. So that continuity masquerades so that we cannot see it clearly, actually. Another example is insects. I don't know in USA you have insects. In Africa you have insects. They make a file, and you see a line, brown line, and you think, wow, who drew this brown line? Only to reach there, it's one insect after the other insect. But don't worry, in USA you don't have those insects. In USA I've never seen those insects. Now, another example, waterfall. Before, when you are very far away from a waterfall, it's one monolithic thing. One thing. You are far away from it. That sounds like when you have ignorance, you are far away from the reality. But when you come close, you see for yourself, and wisdom is coming closer to experience. To see for yourself clearly, you will just one drop after one drop. More examples. You drive in USA and you see a sign, an arrow. An arrow is really actually one arrow like this telling you detour. And you get ready to detour, isn't it? But once you reach that arrow, what do you see? One bulb after one bulb. You see, it's not the line of arrow as when you are far. But coming close, you start to see it's one bulb blinking, another bulb blinking, another bulb blinking. These analogies have a very big implication in our practice, so that we start learning to see things from beginning to the end. From beginning to the end, the signs begin to end. Otherwise, if we just see things without wisdom, we are just going to see one monolithic thing, and then there's continuity. And that continuity brings a lot of problem in our experience. How do they bring problem in our experience? When we face states of mind, like anger, we believe that we are angry for the whole day. No way. You cannot be angry for the entire day, even if you are. No, I've been angry with you for the last week. No, 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 no. You mean you're angry when you're eating chocolate? When you have that wonderful omelette in the morning, were you angry? But we tend to fixate, to put things together, either to make other people feel bad. I've been angry with you for the whole year. It can be one moment after the other moment. And when we are clear, we can see it properly. So it's very, very important in our practice to really see the beginning and the end. Otherwise, the whole thing is going to be one. That's why all practices helps us. We try to break down experiences, knowing from where it starts to the end, other than just getting to know, oh, everything is impermanent. No, that's not going to bring us to experience. So now, the question is, what is impermanent? So now, that's another question. What is it that is impermanent? You need also to answer this question for me, because once we know that, then we are going to really practice the Buddha's teaching.
The five aggregates.
I think you're a student of Bhikkhu Bodhi, you know a lot. Yes, not leaves. We need to know the five aggregates of clinging are impermanent. What are the five? Form, the body, feelings, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Last time I gave a talk about this, when we were talking about our experience. We talked about that was in it was in a Vulture's Peak when you talk about Heart Sutra. Form is empty, empty is form. Also, I brought in what the Buddha meant by emptiness, which is anatta, another fancy way of saying anatta, which is non-self. And the Buddha gave an analogy to point that out. So the five aggregates are anicca. So anytime we practice, whether it's a breath, the breath is 5 aggregates. The 5 aggregates of clinging the breath is there. Actually, the 5 aggregates, they come all together. That means if you are to observe the breath, that means also other aggregates are there. Did you know? Do like this. Breathe in, breathe out. That form element is air. Feeling. Feeling what? Neutral or pleasant or unpleasant? What do you feel? Neutral? Yes. And then perception. This long breath, short breath, that perception. Mental formation, attention. And then the consciousness is aware. So we all the time breathe in the 5 aggregates. You don't have to look too far. People make meditation, oh, meditation is so difficult for me. Don't really think meditation is difficult. Just really know what the Buddha was trying to say and then try one by one. Like knowing that the breath has the 5 aggregates and the 5 aggregates are impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-safe. A good start is the 5 of breathing is just breathing in and be aware. As the breath goes on, you just make those discernment. Oh, this is form. There's pressure, there's tightness, there's warmness. That's the aggregate. Then sometimes you be aware of the neutral feeling. Perception. Sometimes you know, oh, breathing in, you know that it's a long breath. Buddha was giving this instruction. Breathing in long, know that it's breathing in long. The problem is that we all come to meditation because we have studied physics and mathematics and chemistry. So even a simple instruction of observing the breath becomes a problem. People know, is this all? We want to complicate it. We want to add more. To a simple instruction, breathing in long, know that you are breathing in long. People say, no, we must do more than that. Human beings are no longer simple. And I have a problem all the time when I go to Uganda. When I go to Uganda, I tell people, I always am with a group of people, they order coffee, I don't take coffee. They order tea, I don't take tea, caffeine. I say, I would like to get hot water. Yeah, hot water? I say yes. You mean hot water? I say H-O-T. Now they go. When they come, they bring in a cup of tea back on a side and sugar. That's when I gauge that human mind is no longer simple. It's so complicated. Everywhere, people don't believe there's a human being who can take hot water. So, what I've seen over the years, with the instruction about mindfulness of breathing, people do lots of stuff and make it so complicated. But here I am, I'm a Buddhist monk who is really dedicated to this acronym. It's called IRS acronym, another acronym, IRS. Keep it interesting, keep it real, and keep it simple. That's how I roll. IRS. Keep it what? Interesting. If it's not interesting, my mind will just get bored. That's why when I'm talking, I'm entertaining myself, actually. You don't know that. You don't know that, but I've told you. But in a dummic way. But I endeavor to keep it real. In other words, how do I keep it real? I keep it as close as to my boss, the Buddha. Very close. I don't want to deviate a lot from the Buddha. And simple is why I come up with acronyms so that actually you can even remember it and simplify it as much as possible or as much as I can. Now, Buddha talks about in his first instruction, I think he was a little bit tired and telling people that all conditioned things are impermanent. But actually, when you look at other Buddha's teaching, he talks about all conditioned things, also dukkha, and also other all conditioned things are anatta. Why he didn't go any further? Because when you look at the coin, you see the coin? On one side, if it's anicca, automatically the other side of the coin will be non-self. Those two sides of the coin cannot exist whereby on one side is anicca and on the other side is self. Cannot exist. So it's understood in many ways. Buddha was teaching, whenever he taught one thing and then he left out the other one, thinking that people will figure it out. So anytime we actually practice and observe anicca, also the other one are implied. But also, unfortunately, also they are masqueraded. Like for dukkha, what's dukkha? It's the five aggregates. Why don't we see dukkha? Changing posture. Changing posture masquerades dukkha. Now, since I've been here, I don't know how many times you've been blinking in order to dodge dukkha. You've been tweaking, like this, a little bit, subtle ones. So that masquerades dukkha. So now we know why dukkha is existing, but it's being masqueraded. And we think we are so comfortable in a seat, but you don't know how many times you've been twinkling like this, making adjustment, all right? Now, what masquerades anatta? Yeah, because for me when I teach, I want the engagement, interaction. I'm not a person who teach and you just download stuff to you. No, I just want really also to interact and learn from you. What would you say that masquerades anatta?
Conceit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what did you
Conceit.
yeah. It's always there, even ignorance. But let's go to closer. What do you think that masquerades non-self? Because this teaching is aligned like that. The three seals. I think in your tradition you call them the three seals. We call them the three marks of existence: impermanence, anicca, dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, and anatta. This was not given during his last time. The guy was going to die. I mean, he got pardoned. He knew that has been teaching for all these years. He said, okay, all condition thing and permanence, strive on with diligence. He left us with that message. But for us as practitioner, we know that we need to go through the whole 9 yards, Yeah, so what masquerades anatta? What masquerades anatta? Actually, by the way, this teaching already in this tradition, Atma, it's called Atma. Yes, and that's how the Buddha actually diversed.
Clinging to yourself, thinking that you really, this is mine, this is I, this is myself. I'm really holding on.
All those are true, but let's go another person who can tell what masquerades.
ego?
Yeah, also that. But really, actually, what masquerades anatta is the solidity. Things look so solid. Yeah, the solidity, yes. Even your body looks so solid. That's why even you call it the bodies like nouns. These are verbs. When you look rupa, rupa is more of a verb than a noun. Yeah, it's just like everything. Feelings are thing you can see. It's a process. Everything is a process. So it masquerades. There's a solidity. That's why when we observe the Buddha when he gave the similes, it was really breaking down that solidity. Things look so solid. You remember when we talked about the form, body, he compared it to form, and when, yeah, FOM, yes, and then with the feeling, he compared it to bubbles. Bubbles, they look solid, isn't it? You see the girl who was blowing in them? I used to love this when I was a little kid. All of it, they will tell me, go and wash my clothes. My mom will say, close my clothes. And the soap we're given is called Omo, and it will form the bubbles. Then I will do like this. You form something like this, like with the grass. Blow. Poof, wow, it was fascinating. So the Buddha compared feelings to bubbles because they look so solid. You know, when you feel angry, there is solidity. You're really an angry person. But it's just ephemeral. It's just passing. Just like bubbles. And then with perception, what did he compare it? We learned this one in a Vulture's Peak. He compared it with mirage. You know, when you are driving, you look like there's a solid lake, isn't it? But only to reach there, nothing. So things look so solid. In fact, even our perception, we have views, the way we perceive things, you know. I tell you, for me, I've seen it before. I was in a monastery in Bhavana Society. There's a vice abbot, and there was a monk, and me, three of us. You know, we failed to blow the candle because each of us had a different view how to blow the candle. The vice abbot was saying that you need to do like this. You get something and then douse the candle. And this monk was saying, he said, no, you bring the saliva all over. You should not blow the candle like this. And for me, I was saying, just do like this, because this can. Three of us, we have different view how to blow the candle. And I say, who cares? Who cares? So even we monks, and guess what? Many wars around the world have been fought because of different view. I tell you a very recent view. I have my architect came from England. He's now in Uganda. I was supposed to fly to Uganda from the United States, stay for 3 days there. But because of the war, I couldn't. So I had to go through Netherlands and end up in India. So in the net effect, I didn't go to Uganda to instruct what my architect to do. So now, yesterday he sent me a message. Oh, Bhante, we are making rails because our school is a two-story building. We need to put rails. But the way he had put rails is crossed like this. For me, the way I want to put the rail is to have a damachaka with the center which is called axle hole. Axle hole. I want it to be a real wheel. We were on a bus yesterday. He was sending me email, Bhante, why did you change the idea? Now you are going to make a new design. I said, no, this is not a new design. We just want something to be strong because students are going to lean on it.
Yeah, right.
And then I told him what I want is to have one thing only, and this is my perception, have an axe hole in the wheel so that the spokes become strong. Me and the architect, we had a different view. For him, he had already instructed even to bring the sample. The sample is already there. Now I'm telling the builder, go and make another sample. Go to the same building, make sure that the wheel we're putting in the school, it has same. Different views.
Yeah.
Now I got a message in the morning, Bhante, you're right. So perception, but they look so solid. They look so solid. Yeah, we hold on to our perception. I'm telling you, you don't know how many wars we are still fighting, and you don't know how many wars we have fought because of holding our perception to have it very solid. They look very solid, you know. Then mental formation. What's mental formation? What he compared mental formations? You remember? Plantain. Plantain. Plantain, when you have a plantain, in Uganda we have so many, you keep on peeling because we use those peel to cover the ground so there's no weed. You keep on peeling until you see nothing. So solidity. The Buddha was trying to break that solidity that brings us into a lot of trouble. Now, the consciousness. He said that it's like magician tricks. When a magician is making all these tricks, they look real. They look solid, grounded. But only you have to go behind where they're making it, and you find out they are just not so solid. So my brothers and sisters, my friends, you need to learn today, if you want to practice the teaching of the Buddha, the way he intended, you need to learn about 6 words. 9 actually. But the rest is going to be your homework. We are still together. 3 I've given you. I've given you anicca, anicca lakkana, and anicca nupassana. Your homework is to find out dukkha, dukkha lakkana, and dukkha anupassana. Then also anatta. You're going to, your homework is to know what's anatta, anatta lakkana, and anatta nupassana. You'll be good to go. If you really get those things together, you will understand what the Buddha was trying to say on his last day. Vayodama, Vayadama, Sankara, Pamadena, Sampadeta means strive on with diligence. So I want to give you some room for diligence to find out what is exactly Anatta Lakkhana and what is Anatta Anupasana. Because it's through Anatta Anupasana we can see Anatta Lakkhana, and once we see Anatta Lakkhana, we are going to see Anatta. Otherwise, it's going to be a word. You can even make songs about it, you can sing, but you never come closer, even what it is. Thank you very much. It's time for questions and answers. After a little bit of your reflection, as we go along the road, you are free to ask me what's Anatta Lakkhana. I will be happy to answer it, but I want to give you some room for reflection. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I hope that helps. Okay, now it's the Buddha's instruction. He gave his disciples to ask. He told them, this is my final day. You ask any question that is not clear. And they asked probably. But this is not my final day. We are still having many days. So please ask anyway. Please ask any question.
Okay, I want to say that for me, feeling is very strong.
Yes.
I know it's conceptually it's a bubble, but when I'm in that feeling
Mm,
and overtaken with that feeling,
mm,
whether it's anger or discontent or even happiness, I'm enveloped in this feeling
yes.
and I know it. How does one get out of it? How does one, sometimes when it's not that strong and it's not overtaking the mind, I just stop myself. I say to myself something, I shall not allow my consciousness to dwell on this pancha, on this, whatever it is that's in the mind. And then it settles down and I feel better. But sometimes it takes because it's so tight, it just holds on to you. So sometimes it takes longer to kind of get out of it or get rid of it. But how do you make it get out of it so fast?
You want to microwave your practice?
What is that?
You want to microwave your practice? I know Americans are very good. But when I was growing up in Uganda, making a cup of tea used to take me 30 minutes. I would take 30 minutes to prepare a cup of tea when I visited my grandmother in a village. You go first, you have to get fire from the village, your neighbor, and make it, and then you have to get a little bit of fire, and also you only to find out that you don't have enough water, and you have to fetch your water. It used to take me 45 minutes to make a cup of tea. But when I came to America, is the first time I saw a microwave. I said, what's this? They said it's a microwave. And there was some tea there. They told me 1 minute. I was so fascinated. 1 minute to have a cup of tea. So you want to microwave your practice? Well, you are talking about feeling, but actually these are emotions. Emotions, we identify ourselves with our emotion. This because of our identification with them. So we don't even see that this is the emotion and this is us. So we have actually wrapped ourselves so much, embroidered and entangled in emotions. Yes, that's why I gave you an approach which is called MAIN. You remember our acronym MAIN?
Maine?
MAIN?
Maine?
Mindfulness of the emotion. I gave it, I think, in one of my teaching. You remember?
Mindfulness?
You don't remember that?
He gave it at lunch for some people over at lunch.
Over lunch. Main. Main stand for mindfulness. Mindfulness of that particular experience. This is a process. Whether an emotion go or not, that's different thing. But you should process it. In fact, the Buddha one time asked the monks, if other religious leaders, there were almost over 62 religious philosophers, but the Buddha asked the monks, when other monks ask you, other ascetics ask you, why do you lead a holy life under the Buddha? What are you going to answer them? The monks kept quiet. Second time, third time, the monks didn't have the answer. The Buddha said that you answer them like this. It's for understanding. It's for full understanding of what to be fully understood. That's the reason why you live the whole life of the Buddha. So your approach about just yanking the emotion is not exactly what we need actually. The key, we need to learn from the emotion. We need to understand it. And through understanding it, we get intimately aware of how it feels in the body, how it feels in the mind, and then we can deal with it. Yeah? I think a metaphor I can give is when you have uh, ice cubes in a refrigerator, you can do two things to those ice cubes. You can bring a hammer and hit them, isn't it? You can do that. But still, there's still some going to be remaining. But for me, I feel the best way to really dismantle ice. Get it out of the fridge, put it in the sun. It will melt by itself. So you, by saying that, okay, I want to yank it out, I think that's not a good approach. Just create wisdom, good condition for it to arise, melt it. You don't need to spend much energy dismantling it, microwaving it. So now, what you need to do is using 9 insights, but I collapse them into 4. Buddha talks about 9 insights in the 4 foundations of mindfulness. But again, I told you, I keep it simple, collapse them into 4. One is mindfulness. Make it the object of your meditation. Through that, then you understand it. Then A stands for attitude. What's your attitude? Are you indulging in it? Are you pushing it away? Are you suppressing it or ignoring it? Because these are our biases, our prejudices whenever we have difficult situations. And we see that through many, what we call defense mechanism. Defense mechanism, even the Buddha talked about defense mechanism actually. We can isolate situations, we can repress it, suppress it. Buddha already talked about this in Anguttara Nikaya. He talked about 8 defense mechanisms. We always develop an improper attitude when we are in problems. But the best attitude is wisdom. Understand what this emotion is. Then the next one, third one, is I, stands for insight. Get the insight into impermanence. This emotion, whatever anger is impermanent. It's changing it. You are not seeing it as impermanent because of the fixation. You are hugging on to the memory, signs, and all that. So then insight will take you to dukkha also. See how unsatisfactory it is. See also how impersonal it is. So it's impermanent, insecurity, and also impersonal. So we personalize it. Again, it's impersonal. It came due to causes and conditions. Then N, it stands for non-clinging. We're clinging on to emotion as this is mine. Even when we say, forget this person, forgive this Bhante. No, it's my anger. So you get copyright on your anger. Then how are you going to get rid of it when you have already got copyrights? Yeah? So we do not cling. It's called non-clinging. These are the instructions of the Buddha by way of one. By way of craving. We normally identify ourselves with emotion by a way of craving, by way of wrong view that this is I, by even conceit. You talked about conceit? Yeah, mana, the Pali word is mana, to measure. So we measure, we are proud. Many people are proud to be angry. Very proud. I'm going to teach them a lesson. So this is more of identification, but in a process, when we do that main, we are putting that emotion in the sun to melt, dissolve. Most people say, you Buddhist people, are you not repressing anger? You're not actively fighting, like catharsis, in Greece. They always had these approaches to anger. Gun kick the pillow, I was teaching this one in Uganda, and one of my teachers said, when I get angry, I just kick my pillows. You will get tired, very soon. It's called catharsis. Well, it can help in a short run, but actually in the long run, it doesn't help. That approach of really, yeah. My Sapa has given a very good talk, actually. He's in Sri Lanka now. He said that when there's fire, in order to get rid of fire, you don't bring fire. Nobody who has a gray matter, whenever there's fire, they bring fire to get rid of fire. I don't know where he got that analogy, but he's a young boy, actually, novice monk, I sent to Sri Lanka. But I think his analogy was very good. So now, the best way is to go through this process. The Buddha repeated it 21 times in the Four Foundation of Mindfulness, just in case you forget it. I collapsed it into four, main, and now you are going to understand what's an emotion, and whether it goes unknown, or whether it goes away unknown, at least you have got insight. Yeah? When God send you lemonade, make lemonade out of it. So the gift of Dharma has sent you anger, make lemonade out of it. Get insight under your belt. And then later on it will melt by itself as you continue to loosen the grip. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why it's when you are meditating and when there's an emotion, don't meditate inclining towards its disappearing. Meditate in a way that it brings you to that process where you want to see what's this nature. Yeah, what's the nature of this emotion? How does it feel in the body? Because the body is biofeedback, it can tell you, as I say always, the issues in the tissues. Again, another one. So now, when you have all this anger, check how does it feel in the body? How does it feel in the chest? Is there tightness? But you'll miss all that if you say, oh, anger here, I'm a good Buddhist, I should let it go, I should not. No, 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 no. Just process it properly.
I also sometimes use dependent origination. Oh, this anger is caused by contact. Whether it's I hear something or someone say something, then there's contact, and then when there's this contact impinging, then it triggers a feeling, and then that feeling becomes
That's a good approach, and that comes to attitude. I told you the attitude is not pushing it away, is not indulging, is not ignoring, is understanding. And by understanding the causes and condition, you're on the right path. Yeah. Okay, one last question. Last question. You, no problem. No, you are the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening and taking this in, and I want to know how you would reconcile the advice and teaching that I've received about, and I should say that from my house,
Yes.
I have a very big view of sky.
Yes.
A lot of sky.
Yes.
And the sky, I have been instructed, is my awareness.
Yes.
It's always there. And the clouds that pass across it are the emotions and the dukkha and whatever. And I can watch the clouds metaphorically
Yes.
pass across them. But you are counseling, no, stop that cloud and engage with the cloud. So how do I do both? Because I have a lot of clouds come across.
The approach of looking them clouds moving is a skillful means of not seeing those clouds sticking in the sky. Is a skillful means to get you there. But what I'm talking about is the Buddha's teaching on how to deal with just about everything that happens. Yeah. So there's no contradiction. You can reconcile it in that this is a way how to observe, and that it will come under the eye, the insight. Yes. In Maine, that's what we call insight. and of seeing them impermanent. Because when you look, I use that also when I was, especially in '99, when I was tormented with so many on a 3-month retreat, so many emotions come. I just lie down and just look at the things passing through. It's more skillful means, but some of it, different emotions, may not be plucked out by just seeing them going through it. Yeah, you have to really gain insight. You have to say, if God send you lemon, make lemonade out of it. We need the insight, and also we need the end, non-identification with it. So different teachers give different metaphors. That's a very good metaphor, not seeing the clouds sticking on the sky, because you can see it themselves. Some people are visual. Yeah, but does it mean every time you get emotion at midnight at about 3 a.m. and go outside to see it? It's impractical. You don't want to leave your room at 2 a.m. because you have anger and you go out to see the sky, my friend. So sometimes we need this teaching that can really be across the board. And sometimes if the opportunity comes and you have a place to lie down, and just see it. Watch the show. All these are good instructions.
Very helpful.
Okay, I hope so. Thank you very much. Okay, it's time
Thank you,
to go.
Bhante.
Thank you very much for asking.